Welcome to the Authentic Man podcast. I am your host, David Chambers. This is a podcast for men who want more and less from life. More deep connection, more emotional intelligence, more self-awareness, and more great sex. And less heartache, less conflict, less overthinking, and less stress. Creating dating lives, sex lives, and relationships that are incredible and authentic. My deepest goal is that you, the listener, can take away what you hear in this podcast and apply it to your life so that you can experience greater happiness, transformational growth, deeper relationships, and profound sexual intimacy. I believe that as men, we are capable of so much more depth than we are shown or led to believe. So join me as we get deep into this. Hello and welcome to the Authentic Man podcast with me, your host, David Chambers. I am a dating, intimacy and relationship coach for men. Specialize in helping men really, professional men really move out of fear and worry, lack of confidence and connect deeply. That's what I'm really about. So today we have a really special episode, right? So I've got a wonderful man on the podcast today. Goes by the name of Mervyn. I know him as Merv. He is the founder at You at Yours, which is it's body confidence photography and boudoir photography that focuses on helping women achieve greater body confidence through the art of photography. And isn't that a really beautiful way to boost someone's confidence through photography, the art of photography? And I've got to know Merv actually as a friend over the last kind of year and a half, 2 years. Actually, as the story goes, he came across my podcast because of an event that I was speaking at. And he sent an email just saying, thank you for the great work, loved it, and said, we should catch up sometime. And, we did catch up sometime and became friends. And he's an awesome human being, a man who's deeply passionate about his work. And as he'll tell you during the episode, he's done almost 300 of his body confidence photography shoots. So he has a really in-depth understanding of female body confidence, of a woman's body confidence and where it comes from and what kind of boosts it, what erodes it, and what makes up our lack of body confidence. So we have a really awesome conversation. It's really a conversation we just kind of flow back and forth about body confidence, both with men, because I have a lot of experience of working with men that I'm coaching, and body confidence is a big issue for men. It's one of those kind of silent things that we don't talk about as guys, is how we feel about our bodies, but actually it really impacts how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about our relationships, and all sorts of things. So this is a really great episode just because, to do it with someone you really know and you really enjoy and you're really passionate about that. Doing an episode with someone whose work you're really passionate about is a lot of fun. And I've seen the power of his work because I've met some of the women who have shot with him, and I've really seen and spoken to him about their shoots and what it did for them as well. And also my partner, Orsa, she did a shoot with Merv a little while back as well. So I've really seen the power of that. So today in the episode, we talk about a lot of things, right? But really body confidence is there, but confidence is also a big part. So what is body confidence? What erodes it? How do we build body confidence, which is a really important part you're probably here for, right? The unseen impact of low body confidence on our relationships. We really get into how it affects our relations, how we relate, how we have sex, how we get into intimacy and so forth, and how it damages our relationships. And then one of the other things, amongst many other things we talk about, is why external validation isn't as good for you as you think it is, right? That's a really interesting topic when we get into that. So I'm just going to let you know about some events that we've got coming up. Actually running an event with Merv called Confident Woman, right? And it's on the 25th of June at 6 p.m. Right, and I'm really looking forward to it because me and also are going to be doing a talk around sexual confidence and kind of really empowering yourself sexually. So, this is for the ladies. Actually, I think it's a women's only event. I won't be the only man because Merv will be there too, but we're going to be talking about that. I'm really looking forward to it. It's got a stunning lineup, right? He's got some amazing women. He's got speaking. It's going to be a live podcast. There's a gallery. It's Merv, so he does it big. There's no small things when it comes to Merv. He does everything very well and very professionally. And you can get tickets for that. I'll put the link in the show notes. as well as that would be obviously if you go to my Instagram, you're able to find tickets there as well. So that's happening on the 25th of June, which isn't far away now. And also I'm running Deeper Dating, an in-person dating event, in person. Oh, Merv's event is also in person. It's an human being event, right? So you're going to get to connect with real people again. So I really implore you, because we're all looking for a bit more connection. And the other event I'm running is Deeper Dating, which is an in-person speed dating event where we offer you ways in which you can get to know people a bit deeper. We've got some conversational tips and cards that we give out, as well as I'll be doing a little talk about vulnerability and connecting deeply on the night. And you'll get to meet me as well, right? So if you're in London on the 30th of June, it's at 7:30 p.m. It's going to be a great place to be. So those are a couple of events that I've got up. And I guess the other bit of news before we get into the episode is that I've got 2 spots that have come up for my coaching. A couple of my clients have finished up of their 3-month program. So I've got a couple of spots, open for guys. And if you're struggling with confidence in your dating life or, connecting deeply, whether that be sexually or just emotionally, give me an email and I'll sort out a free coaching call for you, and we can look into get some clarity for you on one of your problems, what's coming up for you. So that's just me telling you what I'm up to. So yeah, without further ado, we'll be getting into this episode of the Authentic Man podcast with Merv. On this episode, we've got a really special guest, a good friend of mine, a man I've come to admire, Merv from You at Yours. He's a body confidence and boudoir photographer. His photography is amazing. I have first-hand experience of it through him photographing my partner. And I really love the work he does with women and the boudoir that he does. So let Merv introduce himself a lot better than I did.
Can you hear the smile? I hope you can hear the smile. Thank you, David. I run You at Yours, and You at Yours is aimed at helping women to obtain and maintain body confidence through the art of photography. As a sort of side shoot of that, I also run You at Your Best, which is almost doing the work, if you want to call it that. You know, it's optional. You don't really have to. I think the shoots are kind of the golden bullet, if you like, if you really want to jump into really boosting your body confidence. That's where you want to be. So I've been doing that for a couple of years now. Officially, I'm actually fast approaching my 300th shoot, which is which is pretty amazing. I'm trying to figure out how to celebrate that, but we'll figure that out when I get there.
Amazing. And today we're going to talk about the truth about body confidence. So like Merv has a lot of experience of working with women in the body confidence area, and I have experience of working with men through coaching and then the sex workshops that I do. So we felt it'd be really good to talk about the truth and what the reality is, because often we don't see body confidence in ourselves and other people as it actually is. We see it maybe as we want to see it, or we don't want it, or we don't want to see it. And also we're going to throw in a little bit about how to build more body confidence for maybe yourself or your partner or your girlfriend or the lovers and people in your life. So I feel like the best place to start is, what is body confidence? And before we got on air, we were talking about this, and it was really hard to pin down an answer. So I Googled a little bit, as you do when you don't know something, right? And I kind of come to an answer that I like the sound of it, because I think it feels quite true and quite real. Is that body confidence is how a person feels about the way they look. Yes. When we have body confidence, we accept and are happy with how we look and what our bodies can do. And I think really what's important there is that, well, actually the biggest word there for me is acceptance. The accepting. And the happiness.
I'd say you've hit the nail on the head pretty much with that. I'd say from my work, what I found is a lot of people aren't at that space and they're trying to get to that space. But even getting to a point where they're even recognizing they need to do that work is work itself. So I'm finding that there's a misperception about what body confidence is, and a lot of people believe that it's about having the ability to wear that dress, or to walk into a room and not care what anyone thinks about your appearance, or to be topless at the beach, maybe as a guy, and it's about the external validation.
Yes.
And it isn't that at all, in my opinion, from my work. And I want to emphasize here, I'm not a woman. Like, you know, my parents were disappointed when I came out as a boy. But, you know, I'm not a woman. But I can talk from experience of working with lots of women in the body confidence arena. The understanding that I have is that it's the approach to how we appear is sort of overrun. It's overtaken the reality, you know, and can actually disable our day-to-day lives or debilitate, you know, how we operate. And I think working back to how you started this question about, you know, what the truth of body confidence is, I think especially gratitude, I think that's something that isn't exercised or was very rarely exercised in the people that I meet. It's more about my legs don't look good enough, or they're not thick enough or thin enough, or my breast or my stomach, like, the list is endless. Yeah. Instead of what they actually do, like the day-to-day actions. They walk you places, they breastfeed your child, they, you know, your stomach holds your food and digest it, and so on and so on. There's a lack of gratitude there. But anyway, I'm sort of digging lots of holes here.
No, it's fine. And I really like what you said about what body confidence isn't, because I think that's a really important point. It's like, body confidence isn't feeling that you could walk down the street naked, or that you could go to a nudist beach, or actually, you know, it's not going to a nudist beach and not having any concerns and worries. You know, like, I think sometimes we get into this idea of, like, especially confidence, I think is a very misunderstood thing in general. But it's like, body confidence isn't going to the gym and feeling you look great all the time, right? Body confidence is going to the gym and knowing that there's something you're working on, but you accept where you are, and you also are moving in the direction you want to go to. And I think that's a really different thing, is that people think that body confidence means almost body invincibility. You see your body as absolutely invincible and perfect and wonderful. When actually the reality is that you see that your body might not be perfect in every way that you want it to be, right? But you accept that is so. Absolutely. And you accept that this is how you feel about it, and that you know, there's maybe a bigger goal you're working towards.
And that it will change. You know, whether that's changed because of the goal you're trying to achieve or just life. We're all getting older. That's a fact. You know, we're all getting older. Yeah. And so this invincibility you talk about is actually unattainable. You know, you can't pause time. It's not possible. And what's really sad is when there's an expectation on the body which is so pressured. Look at pregnancy, perfect example. Your body literally is carrying a child, right? Maybe 2, maybe 3, you know? And then there's an understanding of that from an internal point of view and external point of view whilst you're pregnant. And then the minute you give birth, there's this almighty pressure on your body through an expectation through media, and it exacerbated through social media, because we can access anyone in the world now and see how quickly that person bounced back from their pregnancy. And that pressure to return back to state is so immense that it actually causes depression. And then you're in a place where your body confidence is lower than it was before you were pregnant, because now your body hasn't sprung back the way you expect it to have this invincibility, as you call it. Like, it's not realistic.
It's like many things. It's like we have these highly unrealistic expectations of ourselves and our bodies and our minds and our spirit even, and that weighs very heavily on us in a way that really is detrimental to our lives, right? And it leads us nicely into the first question I have, which is really about, what does a lack of body confidence look like? Because often, as you said, people are completely unaware that they're even experiencing a lack of body confidence, right? They're just going through their lives and they assume that this is how it is. This is just how things are, you know, or that they know what they see as the truth and the only way. So I guess the question, it's probably perfect to put it towards you, is what does a lack of body confidence look like in women?
So again, from my experience, it seems to me the most common form in which it's identifiable is self-deprecating comments. And I'd say that is so rife, especially as a British person, where the culture here is to be self-deprecating. You know, you put yourself down before you put yourself up, or bring yourself up. And if you're in a circle where you're all doing it, it's just second nature to say that, you know, I have got to jump from the third story to fit into those jeans, or, you know, don't point that camera at me. That's how I started this, David. I started this job of mine because I was shooting weddings and I was in events and I was taking pictures of people, and the comments, they'll be like, oh, you've got to stand back 10 meters to fit me in your picture, mate. Or be careful, don't point that thing at me. My face will break your lens.
Wow.
You know, and all these things were just throwing off their tongue like it was nothing. And I stood there shocked. Like, how can you say that about yourself?
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, and we all know people like this, how you visually look is nothing aligned to how you think you look.
Completely.
You know? And I think so it starts there. And then it's this self-perpetuating cycle where you keep saying it, and then somewhere deep down, you're starting to believe it. Yeah. You know, you may not have believed it when you started saying those things, really, but now you're excusing it because you've been saying it very often. So I'd say that's not great, but it's the most obvious place that I've seen low body confidence exist amongst women, which is why I think your circle is really important. Like, when I say circle, I don't just mean your best friends and your mother. I mean like your whole circle, and that includes social media. Yeah. Who are you being inspired by? Who's influencing your mindset? Are you following people online who are making these kind of comments? Are you laughing at that meme that's talking about getting fat over Christmas? You know, are you? And then you're relating to that. You know, think about what's influencing you and what you're digesting from media, but also your friends as well. Like, unfollow your best friend. Like, put her on mute on Instagram if she's talking that nonsense, because she's not. I don't know, man. Like, I guess I'm talking from a lot of. In my mind, I'm flicking through all these different women I've had this conversation with, and their lived experiences, and I'm trying to like bring it back to this conversation in a more whole way, to be like, generally, I'd say the self-deprecative comments are what is holding people down. Yeah.
And it's interesting, like you said, you're coming up to almost 300 shoots.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe there's something we didn't really go into detail, is like from talking to you and talking to my partner who did a shoot with you, there's like a real process of, you know, checking in on multiple times along the way when you're meeting these women and you're talking to them to bring them on the shoot. And often the biggest thing that's getting in the way of them doing the shoot is how they feel about their own bodies, right? Yeah. And it's a really, you know, so it's really a lot of signposts and stuff, and like even coaching.
Yeah.
Right. And then a lot of this comes out of the fact that, you know, it's so hard for us to hear something good about our bodies. Like you said, the self-criticism, the self-deprecation, which is, you know, also part of that is like self-criticism, constant self-criticism. It's like, you know, and I see this, I've seen it with women I've dated, and it's like, you know, maybe you buy them, you just like, you see a nice dress, and they're like, I can't wear that, I'm too big for that. And you think, no, they make it up. And I used to say, especially with my ex-girlfriends, I'd say, no, they have different sizes. They have your size. No, it won't look good on me because I'm my size. I'm like, you don't know that, you haven't tried it on. And it's like, because we are so ingrained in telling ourselves what we can't do or what looks wrong or what's bad, and focusing on that, that's all we, even if it starts off, like you said, as little jokey comments, but our brains, this is something we don't always realise, is that our subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a joke and real life.
Yes. On that, David, I say to people, you know, I remember there was a woman that was really making these comments about herself on social media. She would post something, and the first line was something just putting herself down. That was her defense mechanism, because she was putting a nice picture up of herself, and she wanted to pull it back to make sure people didn't think she was being narcissistic or vain or whatever. And I said to her privately, I was like, hey, because she was a client of mine, an ex-client of mine, I said to her, hey, me doing my job, I got to pull you up and say, hey, this is not healthy for you. Like, I appreciate it's a joke, you know, but I think I've seen it a number of times, and I just want to raise it for you just so you're aware. And she's like, you know, you're being too much. It's just a joke, you know, it's just a joke. And I was like, look, one ant on its own can't cause much harm, right? One cigarette on its own can't cause much harm. And I was just trying to remind her that you keep doing this over and over again, it'll become the truth, you know? And just like you said, and it's something I've seen a lot of. And it's just a shame, man. Like, I think for me, on a shoot, like, my goal is to create a space where those women feel entirely comfortable and confident before we even start shooting. I need you to and not 100%, you're going to still be slightly nervous. Someone points a camera at you and you're half naked. Like, all of us are going to be like, whoa, you know. But the point is, I know that within half an hour, 45 minutes, you're going to be high off life itself, because I'm going to make you feel like you're on top of the planet, because you would never experience being in a space where you're, firstly, buzzing from having done this thing or doing this thing that you were so scared of. And actually, secondly, noticing you didn't die. And then thirdly, that you're actually bossing it.
Yes.
Because like you said, with the dress example, you can tell yourself a number of things about how you're going to behave in that arena, but you do not know until you step into it.
Yes.
And from all the testimonials and sometimes I surprise myself. Sometimes some of the feedback I get, I'm like, I didn't even know I made you feel that way and that you took this away with you. And it's an incredible feeling to know that you're having that kind of impact on someone's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's massive. It is incredible work, and I see the photos and I've seen the reaction, even my own partner, like seeing her photos when she saw them, she was just like, wow, these are really, I didn't realize that I could look this way. We have this mind vision, and we were talking about this before, right? We have a mind vision of what we're like, and we just carry that with us, and it's not actually how we are. It's a story about how we look. And then when we are presented with something that goes against that story, right, that goes against our already always listening story of how bad we look, and we present with an obvious piece of evidence, an irrefutable piece of evidence, because it's a photograph, and we know that person is us because we connect with the feelings we have being there. We connect with the fear. We can connect with the lack of feeling that we look good. But also in this present moment, we also look at that photo and go, "Fuck, that looks good. I look good there." And we know that there's no photoshopping that's happening. We know that is a real representation of who we are and how we look. And in that moment, there's a drastic shift in your confidence, and that is what's possible.
Absolutely. I think we also spoke in that conversation about the woman who decided to do her shoot whilst on her period at a time in her life, in her month, where she felt her most unattractive, and we spoke at length about it, and I asked her what the side effects of her period was, and we discussed that, and I said, I think you should go for it. And she did. And the images, she's now like, if I can look like that when I'm on my period, the rest of life is easy. And how powerful is that? And to touch on a point you just made, I get this a lot from people that are thinking about even just talking to me on the phone. They'll look at my Instagram feed and tell themselves, I can't look like her. I can't look like her. I can't look like her. And what I say to them when we have that conversation is, that person was crying on arrival because she was so nervous. That person booked and then waited 12 months before their shoot. Like, what you're seeing is the end product. You're not seeing the work that you're now going through that they had to go through also. And so it's not a comparison exercise. You will look that way. More than likely, you'll look better, but it's trying to educate and also be patient. Not everyone's prepared to get to this point that quickly. But I recommend you to jump out the plane personally.
Exactly. No, I highly recommend it. I feel like if I could tell women to go and see Merv when they struggle with their body confidence, I'd be like, you just need to talk to this guy, and you will. I'm not going to say you'll be fixed, but you will have a drastic shift in how you feel about your body.
And that's a massive compliment. Thank you, man. Yeah. That's huge.
Because I see, when you see the work, and I really have observed your work over the last year or so, right? We've known each other, and it's like, oh shit, I can really see how it shifts people, because it's very hard to find ways to really shift how we view ourselves quite instantly. Not instantly, because like you said, there's a whole journey, but in the moment when you look at the photo, it really hits home. It really connects. You go, oh shit, that's me. Like I feel that way sometimes about even my own photography work I've done. I look at it and go, oh shit, I did that. So in the moments when I'm doubting myself, you look at that and go, no, wait, this is just this voice in my head, this inner critic. The truth is here. This is irrefutable truth. Everything else is just emotions, which you can't rely on. Right? Thoughts, which you can't rely on for truth. But there's this irrefutable truth in front of you, a photo of you, of saying this is what's possible for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, that was beautiful. I've got a couple of more points here about what lack of body confidence in women, and we'll move on to lack of body confidence in men. One of the things that I've really seen in women I've dated over the years is this want to not be seen. So like if there's moments, say at home, where you go out of bed naked and it's like instantly covering up, not wanting to be seen, hiding, turning off lights. And it even extends to things like, going to the beach and feeling really anxious about that as an experience. And I've seen that in women, and it makes me feel really sad. It deeply makes me feel sad because I probably much like you just want every woman to feel deeply confident in who they are
Yeah.
and acceptance and happy in their bodies. And I see it and I'm always like, what can I do? Like, you know, all you can do is really show love. But it's like, that's definitely a sign I see in a lot of women where there's a lack of like happiness and acceptance in their body.
Yeah. I think them creating a narrative based on external expectation. They think they know what you, when they're covering up, when they're getting out of bed, they think they know what you want to see.
Yeah.
And they are not it.
Yeah.
Or another. So I did a workshop. In fact, no, sorry. Before the workshop, I had a conversation with a client, and this conversation then led into a section on a workshop. And this client was really struggling with her appearance and her self-esteem. And I ran through a little exercise with her, and I was like, okay, imagine. So this woman was, she was a curvy girl, right? So I said to her, right, imagine you're on the beach, right, with your friends and you're in Ibiza, okay? And you're wearing a bikini, yeah? And I knew, she was, I lined her up, she was like, I wouldn't wear a bikini. I was like, I know you wouldn't wear a bikini, right? But this is the part of the challenge, okay? You're at the top of the beach, you're at the bar at the top of the beach, and I'm going to challenge you to walk from the bar to the sea in your bikini, okay? And there's people all over the beach, okay? What do you think would happen? And she immediately said, people would throw things at me. And I was like, and I laughed because I thought she was being silly. And no, she was deadly serious. And I was like, oh, okay. Firstly, have you ever seen someone walk down the beach and have things thrown at them? She was like, no, but they'll do it to me. And I was like, okay, that's fair. Okay. And so they've thrown things at you, and then what happens? And she's like, then they'll say things at me and call me fat and ugly, and I shouldn't be wearing that. I was like, okay. Now you don't, it's never happened to you. You've never seen it happen. So this is all in your mind, right? Secondly, I'm going to challenge that with my own narrative, which hasn't happened also, but it's something equally powerful. I would wager you that if you were to go through that exercise, you would have people coming up to you and saying, I wish I had your confidence. I wish I could be like you. The tip from going from someone who's scared and nervous and self-judging and self-deprecating and worried about what the world thinks to being confident and being yourself is so minor. The switch is so minor. It's literally the difference between, in my case, showing up for a shoot and then leaving 4 hours later.
Yeah.
And you'll go from that person who's looking at my Instagram feed saying, I couldn't look like her, to people thinking I want to be her.
Yes.
Right? And going from I can't walk down the beach to walking down the beach. It's literally a matter of, it's an action a lot of the time.
Yes.
It's getting out of bed and not covering yourself up.
Yes.
To suddenly being, you're now that confident person.
Yeah.
And it's just about, I don't want to say, you can't force it, but it's trying to challenge your mind into accepting that as your reality and then trying to do it in baby steps.
Yeah. Yeah. Challenge the narrative.
Challenge the narrative. Challenge the narrative.
That's how we shift. That's how things change.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my last point on this one about how it shows up in women is, and I guess actually I kind of covered this, is like not wanting to have sex and avoiding sexual contact. Yeah. Because of feeling like there's something wrong with how they're going to be moving, how their body's going to feel. And I think that's something that comes up a lot. And again, this is my direct experience of being with women. And when you speak about afterwards, it's like, oh, you know, maybe you've been with women who are better looking, I'm not as slim as the other women. And then this again, it's a judgment, right? Yeah. It's the comparison. Yeah. And that's definitely a way in which I've seen it come up in women quite a lot, actually. And it's one of those things that makes me feel really sad, because I just believe in this acceptance we should have for our bodies.
I think that can also be resolved through self-love and sort of giving yourself the validation. You know, if you in yourself feel, if you have that acceptance, going back to how we started this conversation, if you have that acceptance of what body confidence is, and that actually this is my body and it's beautiful and it does these wonderful things for me, I'm working on it. Whether that's because you want to gain weight, lose weight, it's not all about, you know, trying to fit into what society perceives as a perfect mold, right? You got to do what feels good for you. If you can accept that as your truth, first and foremost, start on those foundations, then life just becomes suddenly easier. That's one less thing for you to worry about. And so when you're in a sexual environment with a partner, you aren't worried about what they're thinking as much, because you've already got this solid foundation of what you know to be true, right?
Yeah.
one client in particular comes to mind, and she was, long story short, she had a shoot, and she went from having sex with her top on after having a cesarean, after having a second child, and after a couple of years of doing that, she had a shoot, no top. Because she's now seen herself. She's now accepted her truth.
Yes.
And so his perception, and he always encouraged her, but she had to see it for herself.
Yes.
She had to build that foundation for herself in order for her to get to that place. Because no one's going to believe what these external people say to you. There's one special place where that does actually happen, and that's the ladies' bathroom. And a night out, right? These women,
special validation.
I hear stories about the ladies' bathroom and a night out. I just wanted to be on a fly on a wall in the ladies' bathroom. But outside of that, you can't tell anyone. They're just not going to hear it. They have to see it, and they have to feel it for themselves.
Yeah, that's a beautiful point. A really good point. Yeah, it has to be that external validation we think is going to make us feel good about ourselves. Is either completely very short-lived,
yeah,
or we just reject it, we bat it away. We bat it away. They don't know. What do they know? They're full of shit. They're lying.
So let's touch on that very briefly about compliments, because I think this is where you can actually start building your sense of self and belief. If you have people around you who love you, who you trust, and they give you, a really good friend of mine said to me once, a compliment is a gift. If someone gave you a gift, you wouldn't tell them, get out of my face with that nonsense. Take it back as fake.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say that. You'd accept it gracefully. Like, how kind of you to say such a wonderful thing, or to give me such a wonderful gift. If you can change how you approach when someone's saying something nice to you, don't try and change their narrative because you don't believe what they're saying. That's not up to you.
Yeah.
That's their opinion.
Yeah.
Just accept it. Okay? Just say thank you.
Yeah.
You know? And one thing I challenge my community to do every now and then is to ask for compliments. What do you like most about me? It's really uncomfortable if you're not in the headspace yet, but you'll learn a lot about what people truly believe. And another exercise, if you can't quite manage that one, is when someone does give you a compliment, ask them why. If someone says, "Oh, I love your hair," why do you love my hair? What do you like about my hair? I love that dress. What is it about my dress that you like so much? Because you've gone from a space of dismissing it to, by asking that question, it will add so much weight. If someone said to you, "Oh, I like your dress," initially you might dismiss it. But if they said, "I like your dress because it reminds me of my aunt who I haven't seen in 5 years, she loved the color red," suddenly you know that person's being authentic. Yeah. And you can't bat that away.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's more than just a fleeting opinion.
Which is what you thought it was initially.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. I really feel that. Compliments. Yeah.
It's a big one.
So we're going to move on to the next point, which is about what does body confidence look like in men? And I feel like this is a really interesting one because as like I do a lot of work with men, and I over the years have realised that there's a lot more body confidence issues in men than we often perceive. But it's just that, like a lot of what I realise is men, we don't really talk about it. It's not publicised as much. Especially now, it's becoming more increasing. I was doing the first point around here actually is that one of the biggest problems is men's concerns about their penis size, right? And I was doing this course about erectile dysfunction and premature ejaculation. And the therapist that was doing it was saying that she's been a therapist for like 15, 20 years. And she said in the last kind of 7 to 5 years, she's just seen a steady increase of men coming in and their whole penis issue, worry, I'm not going to put even an issue, their concern and worry, their unfounded concern and worry is all based on watching porn and watching reality TV shows and seeing a bulge and making assumptions about what that is. So I think the main body issue for men is definitely around penis size and fear and worry about it's not big enough, I'm not going to be good enough. And it is this thing, and it kind of looks like men sometimes not really wanting to have sex, having a low sex drive, being afraid to be on like beaches and things like that in case someone sees. And it is detrimental because it's like it's actually not the be all and end all of your existence and your ability to be with another woman or to be happy in your body.
Absolutely. I think again it plays into that same channel as misaligned expectations from the outside world, from an external space. And you may have, for example, your partner may be completely happy and satisfied with, your sexual performance.
Yeah.
But you can't hear that.
Yeah.
And you've been, I'm not saying brainwashed, that's an awful thing to say, but you believe that you're not good enough because you've compared yourself to external sources, some of which you have no direct access to. It might be, like you said, reality TV or pornography, or social media, or your mates having a laugh down the pub, like none of that you can actually prove to be factual, but your partner sat next to you saying that actually I'm having a great time, is factual. And you can, again, dismiss it because you think that compliment is coming from a space of care and love and just saying it because they have to. But if you dig deeper and find out what's actually going on, you'll learn a lot more about the reality. Like ask your partner, are you happy? And if they're not, then you are working with the truth. You're working with what's actually the issue here and what the real the cause versus what's happening out there. Because out there is all stuff you've been taught. Unfortunately, we all have to some degree or another.
Yeah, we've been completely conditioned by society into believing what we see on TV is how we should be. Or what we see in the media and what we see in advertising is... And it's not so much how we should be. It's that whatever we are isn't that. And that's that thing outside is good and right.
Yes.
And by assumption and by kind of inference, we assume that we must be wrong.
Yeah, we must be wrong. Yeah. And do you know how many millions of people would give their right arm to have something that you got?
Yeah.
Like, it's about gratitude. It's about understanding what your body can do, and if there are things that it can't, then you work on those things, but you start with the truth, and that's the first place, and you can't compare your truth to something else that you don't know to be factual.
Yeah, that's so true. It's so true. And it kind of leads into one of the other things that I think we said this for the point for women. For men is what I see a lot is comparison. I'll give an example. I did a tantric massage course probably like last year before. And part of that was, pretty much lying there naked and being massaged. And afterwards I got up and sat down, listened to some more of the teachings. And as we were walking out to go towards the toilet, it was warm. The room's very warm. One of the guys was like, "Oh, it's all right for you. You can walk around with your shirt off." And I was like, "Yeah, but so can you." And he goes, No, I don't have a body like yours." And I said, "But we're not here to compare. I'm not just because you don't look like I look doesn't mean you can't do the things I do, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, but I don't want to show myself up." And I said this. But and this is a big thing for men. It's like assuming that it's some sort of competition. It's like there's no competition here. I'm not competing with this other man, or you're not competing with me because there's no competition here. Seeing body competition where the competition doesn't exist. We're not on a catwalk. We're not in a fitness competition. We're just inside a room of other people, and it's this constant comparison and being lesser or better than right, which. I've been reading a lot about this. Is a very much the thing our egos do constantly in our lives. In every moment of our day that it has the chance to, is it makes us, it asks the questions, am I better or am I worse than anything? It could be an object in front of you. It can be a person. And we are constantly weighing ourselves up against, always, like you're driving your car, you look at someone else's car, their car's better than my car. Someone else's car, their car's worse than my car. And we pick up so much brain energy. And this is a thing with the body confidence, is like, for men, is like comparing our bodies and going, that person's body's better than my body, so my body must be bad, or must be something wrong, and I can't show who I am. I can't accept this because I've created this artificial competition between us. Yeah,
and you create this artificial character or mold in which you believe you should be existing and fitting, which is really interesting because no one has the same. So for some cultures, it might be arguable that to have a belly is actually an attractive trait. You know what I mean? Or in other cultures, to have really pale skin is an attractive trait. And in others, to have tan skin is, and so on and so on. So we're all working towards this idea of perfect. No one knows what the flip that looks like. And so when you're comparing and you're saying, "Well, I can't be topless like you can because it's all right for you," based on whose ideology? Like, is it based on your own, and where does that come from? And is that because of what you think women want? You know, in that case, you know, I don't know if this man was straight or not, but like, I think it's about understanding the root of it. Like, what are you trying to achieve? Again, it's going back to the truth. Like, you don't know. Let's go back to your car example. You might see somebody else driving a really nice car and it doesn't compare to your own, okay? Good for them. Are they a chauffeur? You know, have they got on finance? Have they just stolen it? Yeah. You know, like, you know, there's so many things that you just don't know to be true. You're better off, I don't want to say put the blinders up, but having working on having a firmer sense of self. Yeah. A great analogy I like to use is, have you ever tried driving or cycling or whatever it might be in a straight line while simultaneously looking to your left or your right?
I haven't. Well, I feel like I have.
Yeah.
And I've definitely tried to do it on a moped.
Yeah.
Right? And it was very bad.
Yeah.
I wasn't going straight.
You can't go straight.
No.
You can't go
because your focus is over there.
There you go.
And you start
veering.
Veering. Yeah.
And you know what happens when you veer? You then go into their lane, you collide with them, or you just crash and burn. Yeah. You know, you can't get to wherever you want to go to if you're so focused on these external points. So it's about understanding what your truth is, your reality is today, and then think about where you want to be. Yeah. You know, and that could be any part of your life, your sexual performance, your body shape, you know, whatever. It's about first stepping into what your reality is.
Yeah.
We'll start there.
Yeah, that's so strong. That's so true. That's so true. And I think inside this for men, the other way, similar to what I just said, right, is avoiding being naked in spaces. I mean, basically just talked about this there. But what I want to kind of highlight is how similar the body confidence issues for men and women are. Ultimately, they're like the same. And we don't always realize this, right? And this kind of steps into the next main point I want to talk about, which is how we don't understand the other gender's body confidence issues and the assumptions that we have.
Yeah, big one.
Like, I think one of the assumptions that I see with women about men, and I've seen this on my platform and communities where women go, I didn't even realize men had body confidence issues. I didn't think that men thought like this. And there's an assumption, so there's a woman walking around with an assumption that all men are body confident. So when you're interacting with a man, if he shows any signs of a lack of body confidence, it doesn't register for you. You don't even notice it. And like in the dating realm, for instance, this is something that comes up a lot in dating, right? Is that if you don't realize what's going on with someone's experience, you're going to read those signs to be something completely different.
Absolutely. And I've seen it in men, obviously because of my work. And like you said, the similarities are, they're pretty much the same. So I see it in men. And in fact, I get asked this all the time, why do I not shoot men? And it's not that I wouldn't shoot men. I just don't think generally men are there yet. Yeah. And I just wouldn't be able to work, you know, if I was to rely. I've asked, the amount of men I've asked, I'd be like, right, would you have this experience? And they're like, wait, so me pay you money so I get naked, right? And you take photos of me? I don't think so, bruv. You know? But, you know, I also see there's a shift there, and I am hearing from men a lot more. So it's not something I've completely disregarded. But I also know that, firstly, women in society and through social media and the media in general have already been seen in the way that I shoot. You know, like they have already been susceptible to the notion of taking nice photographs in their lingerie.
The idea is already there.
The idea is already there. I've just taken that idea, which is usually completely covered in Photoshop and misguided evidence on what someone truly looks like, and strip that all back to show you your truth. I'm going off the point here though, but I think what I've observed in men is, the self-deprecating comments. Something I see a lot, like with men, and I'm just replaying some stuff in my mind now, is men like sort of tugging on their shirt, like, you know, that's a big one. Like, you know, if you're self-conscious about something, you'll find that people have these little tics, these little body tells that I like to call them, right? And it might be like just making sure their arms are covered, making sure their tummy is constantly covered, you know, wearing a hat all the time, or whatever the case may be. You know, what's going on there? What are they trying to conceal? You know, and it's about concealment for a lot of people. That's where there's similarities.
It's the hiding. Like, I even see, and you know, something as simple that I see myself doing is holding your stomach. Like, and I see that I do that's like I have to consciously find myself, and it's all about me. I'm like a big belly breather, so my belly kind of comes out. And when I was a kid, I remember being young and being teased at school. Like, you know, this was in the days when like people were quite common about the famine that was happening in Ethiopia, being calling, "Oh, you starving, you some sort of Ethiopian," and it being like something really like starting to hold in my stomach, right? So it's something that really stuck with me, and I have to consciously sometimes be like, I don't need to hold my stomach in. I can just let it relax. It's good for your stomach to relax. I don't need to hold it and tense it all the time. But no, that's a really good point. So yeah, on the assumptions that we make about other genders, right? Yeah. And I see one of the assumptions I see for men is that they see a woman as attractive. And they view the woman as attractive. I think that's a better way to put it. They view a woman as attractive. So they assume the woman is confident in how she looks and she's confident in her attractiveness. Yeah. And they can't fathom the experience that she might not see herself in the way that he sees her. Yeah. So it's like the inability to step into her experience and understand that even though he thinks she's an attractive woman, that she might not view herself that way in all aspects.
Yes. I think on this point, there's a couple of things. One is that women do the same thing to other women, right? Just want to make that point. And I think in that case, I think a sense of, what's what I'm after, like a relatability. Think about how you feel about yourself. Just because someone that you believe fits into your ideal of perfect doesn't mean that they believe that, you know, how many times have you met someone and they've been like, I want what you have. And you're like, well, I want what you have. Yeah. You know, like I'm challenging you to not believe what you see. Yes. You know, there's always something more to it. Yeah. You know, I had to really protect and fight for some of the women that had shoots with me when I first started out, who were size 8, size 10s, because I had women on the more curvier side saying, how can they have body confidence issues, you know? And I'm like, but they have body dysmorphia, or they were bullied about their breast size, or, you know, there's so many things that can go on. Like, there's an assumption there, and I just want to challenge that. But from men, I would say, firstly, to really think about how you objectify women, and to think that, you know, acknowledge that firstly, women aren't sexual objects for your pleasure. Yeah. You know, when I am at events, or even just in my personal life, I might be at a wedding or, you know, at a friend's party, and people hear about what I do, the typical male reaction is, oh, I bet you love your job. Can I come and hold the light? You know, like just really pervasive, actually, like, and just really, it's just unsavory reaction to what is someone overcoming something huge. Yeah. There are women that come to me with absolute trauma. They've gone through domestic violence, or they've gone through all kinds of stuff. I don't even want to name it. And you're talking about wanting to observe her in a sexual manner. Yeah. Like, that's disrespectful. Yeah. And I find myself having to take a few breaths to like not respond in a horrible way, because I realise it's coming from a place of conditioning and naivety. Yeah, yeah. You know,
and almost at a level of uncomfortability as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think, another example of men just kind of missing the point a little bit on women and their body confidence, and where we can do better, and I say we because we all can, is when your partner is trying to do something for herself, you know, that might be outside of your comfort zone, you know, and that might be her going for a massage, you know, because you're just someone who's uncomfortable with her being around, you know, other men who might be male masseuse there. But specifically in my case, I get women messaging me most days saying, I really want to do this, but my partner won't let me, right? And okay, there's tons we can unpack there about what's going on in that relationship, how it's so controlling and possessive or whatever. But firstly, the man is typically coming from a space of short-term discomfort. Yes. She's going to be naked in front of this other guy who I don't know, and I don't like that.
And that will mean something about who I am in our relationship.
Absolutely. My ego is going to be driven to nothing, you know, and so on. Long-term reality, that's a short-term, falsehood. Long-term reality is that she's going to be more confident. She's going to be more sexual, potentially. She's going to want to explore all kinds of things with you based on that experience, you know. I'm not promising that, of course, it's case by case, but she's going to feel better in herself. And when she feels better in herself, like we spoke about earlier, once she has that acceptance, she's going to fly. Yes. You know? Try and stop her. And it's amazing some of the responses I get from men you know, who are encouraging of this for their partners, that, you know, she's really confident now, thank you so much. I've had men come and shake my hand.
Wow.
You know, because it's like, it's bigger than your ego,
Yeah.
you know, and if she's really someone you love and you care about, encourage her to do something for herself. The fact I'm a guy is neither here nor there.
Yeah.
You know, I really want to really push that point home. I had a client recently, and her partner, she was packing up to come see me for a shoot. Her partner was like, I'm a little bit upset that you're going to be wearing that for another man, you know, that outfit for another man. And she was like, I'm not going on a date. You know, I'm here trying to make myself feel better.
Yeah.
This is bigger than you.
Yeah.
You know, and she stood her ground, you
Nice.
know, and I really respect that. And so, you know, we have to take ourselves out of our own insecurities with that and really try and be present for those people that we love.
Yeah, and it's really heard inside that story. That guy, he didn't see the photo shoot as a photo shoot or an experience to boost confidence, increase her body confidence. Mm-hmm. He saw it as his story was different. His story was, you are going off with another man.
Yeah.
And you are doing this for another man.
Yeah.
And actually, if he takes a bit of a bird's eye view, she's actually doing it for him.
Yeah.
He's the one who will reap the benefits of this.
100%. And that goes way beyond the photos. If you see some photos, you're going to love them, right?
Yeah.
But beyond the pictures, I say to people, if you have this experience, you never look at your photographs, you'll be a better person.
Yeah.
Right? The photographs is just what carries you through the rest of your life.
Yeah. It's that physical evidence.
It's the physical evidence. Because you can have the memory, but to relive it on your phone, as an album, or something on the wall, whatever it is, that's the power of this. Just want a really quick story. Woman who I shot left me a voice note back in February last year, and she was like, hey Murph, we haven't spoken for a while, but I just want to let you know I love my photographs. I had an interview today, and I just want to let you know, before the interview, I sat on a bench outside and I looked at my photographs. And I said to myself, if I can do that, I can do anything.
Wow.
And she said, I bossed it. And I just want to say thank you. Because if it wasn't for that experience, I wouldn't have had that confidence to go into that interview and to do that thing. And this is greater than some lingerie with your ass up on a bed.
Yes.
Far greater.
Yeah.
It's a space where someone can really find themselves. And that's what I encourage for everyone. And for everyone to encourage that with the people that they love.
I really felt that. It was like a chill when you said that story, because I get how having that, like, life-changing, having that experience made to go back to it can be for a woman. It's like, yeah, it's amazing. It's like, yeah, I can only compare it for men, where we go to men's retreats and do things for us to move past our trauma and our stories and have about ourselves. So I want to move to one of the other assumptions I see a lot with women about men is that just because a man is successful in his life and what he's done, again, he doesn't have these body confidence issues, right? And it's just that I see this so much now with women, and I'm not bashing women here, I'm just creating a balanced view, is like they don't see that a man has the feelings and emotions that a woman does in exactly the same way. They just don't come out in the same way. So it's like negating potentially their partner who might have body confidence issues, but struggles to actually voice them and it's like an assumption, like, because he's not talking about it, that it can't be there. And it's just, I see this a lot more and more, and I'm talking to men, I'm like, no, you should talk to your partner, talk to your girlfriends about this, because then they will understand you better.
Yes, 100%, and they'll learn the truth. One example I give of this, and it's really a silly one, but I ask people, you know, do you think Richard Branson has ever tripped up the stairs? You know, or do you think, I don't know, Jay-Z ever ran for a bus? You know, the answer is yes to both. Like, you know, we put these people up on this pedestal from where they are now, you know, and even still, they're both still going to trip up the stairs.
Yeah.
They're both human. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah.
Right. And so the same insecurities that you have, the same doubts, the same fears we all have. Yeah. You know, you are not alone in your insecurities and your doubts and your maybe self-esteem issues or whatever it might be. The key here is to get a balanced view. Yeah. So that means surrounding yourself with like-minded people, you know, even if that's just an influencer on social media who's talking about things that are prevalent to you, or talking to your friends openly, vulnerably, and be like, you know what, I'm done with saying mean things about myself. What I really mean to say is, I don't like that my body is this way and I want to do something about it. Can you help me? Yeah. You know, and you'll find, I promise you'll find people saying, yes, me too. Yeah, you know, definitely. But we all hide behind this facade. You know, someone said to me about a year or so ago, saying life is really all about trying to trick everyone else that you got your shit together.
Yes.
You know? And let's strip that away and try and find out what is the truth. Like, I've always said in regards to bodies, if we were all more open with our bodies, we'd soon learn what normal is.
Yes, definitely. 100% agree with that.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that goes the same for our actions and our attitudes and our fears and whatever. Like, the narratives we create mostly are false.
Yeah. Yeah, we have this idea, like you said, like a lot of people, and it's interesting the sentence you used there, life is about just tricking everybody else into thinking that you know what you're doing. That's a very shallow way of living life, right? Because the whole time your life is being lived out of the state of trying to look a certain way. So it's a very externally lived life. Life is about actually like loving what you do, experiencing the things that you dream of and you desire. You see that subtleness is that I've gone from just being about what other people are about, right? And trying to keep a facade up, superficial life.
Yes.
A deeper life is experiencing the things that you want to experience, you want to enjoy, going for your dreams and your loves, right? And it's like the difference in the way of living. Because when you start moving to this second one, you're going to tell your truth to people. You're going to speak your truth about how you're really feeling about yourself and the world. And it will just change your experience of life.
And it will save you a bag of time from like having to work out all the time, you know, if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, or a bag of money if you're thinking about plastic surgery for the wrong reasons, and so on and so on. Like, I think you've nailed it. You know, it will encourage you to have a more fulfilling life and to spend your time on this earth wisely, other than for the purpose of other people who mostly you don't even know or care about.
Yeah. And who don't care about you.
And who don't care about you.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's a really good point.
I like the one that just came to me there. But one of the things I like to talk about is how, I think we kind of touched on it. It's like what having body confidence, building confidence will give you.
It's a good one. I think it's one less thing to worry about. I think for a lot of people, it's prominent in their lives, you know, how they look, you know. And I think, I'm not saying that once you have body confidence, you won't care about how you look anymore, but it's one less thing to worry about.
Yes.
Because if you get to a place of acceptance that my body's going to change, you know, and I'm going to be grateful for it, regardless of what that change is. It's a very easy, just to stop myself on that point, it's a very easy thing to say. I'm just going to accept my body as it is. And like, you know, it's not an easy thing to try and do on your own, is what I'll challenge in response to that. Like, you know, there are plenty of things you can do to prove to yourself that your body's capable of many, many things. And you could take yourself to dance lessons. You could, I don't know, take up public speaking. You could do a body confidence shoot. You know, there's a ton of things that you could do to prove to yourself that your body is capable of incredible things. And until you do that for yourself, you may stay in the spiral of, you know, I'm not enough, I'm not doing enough, my body's not enough, or whatever. So once you get to a space of understanding your truth, I think what that then gives you is a sense of self, which is powerful, you know, especially if you're in a dating world, you know, or in a relationship. You now have a full understanding of what your worth is. Nobody can tell you anything. You know, you're not going to have someone manipulate you. You're not going to have someone validate you. You're not going to be seeking that validation. I think there's a ton of knock-on positive implications of having body confidence, but also know that body confidence, like everything else, it's not something you have or you don't. It's a muscle, right? Like, it doesn't just come to people. We look at those people that are confident, we're like, oh, lucky them, you know.
As if God bestowed it upon them.
Exactly. It doesn't work that way. You have to work at it. You have to practice it, which is why it's good to do something like public speaking, or go to dance classes, or go to the gym on your own if it intimidates you, or have a body confidence shoot, you know. Like, I'm here to talk about body confidence and body confidence photography. That's what I do. It's what I love. I've seen it help people, and I've had several people tell me it's changed their lives, you know. I'll happily talk about it all day long, but it's not the only way in which you can obtain body confidence. It's a golden bullet, you know, like there's nothing else like it, but I think it's not for everybody. And I don't want to sit here and exclusively say the only way you can get body confidence is to come and see me. Like, you know, you know, like, I think it's really, really important to have some balance there. But yeah, I think having a greater sense of self can have a massive array of knock-on effects that are positive.
It just, the thing is that to remember with your body confidence is you carry your body everywhere. So if you don't have confidence and your confidence is low, you lack body confidence, you're carrying that thought with you constantly. It's constantly on your mind, constantly worrying about. I tell a really stupid story about myself where I used to hate my feet. Anyone seeing my feet or my calves. So I'd never wear shorts and I wouldn't wear open toe sandals. So any time that I was like doing a sport that I was wearing shorts, as soon as I finished, I had to get changed. So as soon as I left the pitch, it became a concern and worry to me. And it stopped me from being present with what was happening afterwards. It stopped me from enjoying holidays, being on the beach, all these things, because your mind is filled with this worry instead of enjoying the experiences in front of you. And that comes down to being on the beach. It comes down to having sex. It comes in when you're on dates. It comes in when you're on your relationship. It's at work. It's constantly in your mind. And if you don't just do something about it, the thing is, we've become accustomed to it your whole life. If it's been there for you, then you just think this is the norm. It's like having someone play really loud music in your house above your flat constantly. You get used to it, right? And then one day someone says, you can do something about that. You can ask them to turn it off, and they turn it off. And at that moment, you're like, fuck, I didn't even know what I was not hearing because of all this noise. And it's similar to body confidence.
Yeah, there was a gas leak the whole time. I think I can't add to that, David. Like I think honestly, I think you've nailed it there. The fact that you are not present for a lot of your life, Another one, in fact, is the influence you have on other people. So I say this a lot to mothers, and I'm like, because people want to buy photos from me and they want to put it on an album, they want to hide it under their bed, right? I'm like, no, we don't have shame here. I'm going to encourage you to, have this out and show your daughter what it's like to be a woman. And talk to her about the fact that you have insecurities about your body, and talk to her about how you've now overcome that and how you're now overcoming it. If you want to set an example, if you want to be the best you can be for yourself, don't put that work in and then keep it to yourself. If you want to do something like that, share it with other people. Show them that you're doing this, because it will inspire them as well. And I think by not doing it, you're not in the ring. You're not in the ring of life. You're a bystander, and you're not striving to live your life to its fullest. And you're missing out. You can't win the title in the stalls. You're gonna get in the ring and you're gonna get knocked out, here and there, part of life, but sometimes you win, but you'll never know unless you get in the ring.
You're just not you're not completely in life.
You're not competing.
That's so true. So we're going to wrap up in a second.
Okay.
I'd like to talk about tips for body confidence.
Okay.
Maybe your top 3 tips that you offer to women to help them with their body confidence.
First one, I spoke about this earlier, is your circles. Like who around you who around you says little kind of snippets, little things like, you sure you should wear that? Or I don't know, you're getting a bit bigger, and not from a space of care or support, more from a space of, keeping you down. Who's keeping you down, and that, again, doesn't have to just be your friends. It could be people on social media. I challenge any of my clients who talk to me about it, who are following, I don't want to name any names, but certain social media channels where it's all about, the aesthetic and how you look,
like Daily Mail.
Yeah, like Daily Mail. You name it. Or if you're following people like Kim Kardashian or whatever, they are, amazing people to look at. But what is it doing for you?
She's perpetuating an unrealistic physical appearance.
100%.
Because she's mainly based on cosmetic surgery, lots of money. And making you feel shitty about yourself. And
you may not even realise it. But again, like the ant analogy and the cigarette analogy, you keep looking at her over and over again. You're just going to constantly be like, I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'm not enough.
Constantly.
It's
like having someone in your house, walking around with you, telling you you're not enough. You're not. Imagine someone doing that constantly throughout the day. You'd punch them in the face.
You would.
But we allow that voice to happen in our own heads.
Do you know where that happens more commonly on a daily basis for a lot of people, especially women, is having that pair of jeans that doesn't fit.
And looking at it
all the time. You having that in your wardrobe and you looking at it daily saying, I'm going to fit into that, I'm going to fit into that, I'm going to fit into that. 3 years later, you still don't fit into it. I'm going to challenge you. It's my challenge to you. chuck it out.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. Give it to your sister, give it to your mum, give it to somebody else and say, right, you give it to me if you feel like I can fit into it. Ideally, bin the thing, right? Because it's telling you you're inadequate subconsciously and passively. That's what it's saying to you. You and I get it. It's a goal, okay? But if you're at a space where you're not doing anything to actually achieve your goals,
not inspiring you.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'd say look at your circles and look at what's around you, what's in your life that's saying to you that you're not enough.
Yeah.
You know. Secondly, I would say perform gratitude.
Nice.
On what is true. You know, we touched on this as well earlier. Like, what is your body actually capable of doing? You know, your legs, you may feel are too fat, but you ran a 10K in those a few months ago.
Exactly.
Some people can't even run 2.
Yeah.
You know, like your arms, like I could go all day. Like,
Yes.
you know what? You get the point.
Part.
You get the point. The third one, I want to give you something really, really good. I would say have a hard on look at yourself in the mirror. I don't believe many of us know our bodies inside out. Like I had this moment. I think it was last year, and I was brushing my teeth, and I was just having to turn. I was like, I like my ass, and I was like, it's the first time I've ever really. Because I've never really looked at myself like that before. You got to turn and poke it and be like, whoa,
sideways.
There's a sideways. There's a profile, and it was just quite an epiphany for me. You know, that I know for myself, I wasn't paying enough attention to what my truth was.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd say, look at what is going on. Like, see it for what it is. You know, don't be afraid. You know, if you don't like what you see, that's okay. You know, but let's start with the truth. The truth is the only place you can be at that is authentic, that is you. You can't change it, you know. The problem with that is, if you're using things like your phone or you're taking a lot of selfies, there's beautify mode and there's like filters and whatnot, which is slowly changing our perception of what we think we look like, what we should look like, you know. Stay the hell away from that nonsense. I'm talking about a mirror. Yeah. Right? Look in the mirror and see yourself for your truth and really try to own it. And then everything else would just seem a lot more clear as to what you need to do or what you should try and do to have a better life.
I love those. I feel like those points are so relevant to everybody, man, woman, child, just like to be with what's true, to look at how others influence you and what you're absorbing into you, whether that be, you know, like you said, your circles, the things you're watching, the media you're consuming, you know, whatever you're looking at with your eyes and your senses, your eyes and your ears, your hearing is affecting your brain and how you relate to yourself. I think those points are incredible. And, you know, listeners, you can go away and these are things you can do. Yeah. But yeah, I think what an episode. It's been beautiful to share all these ideas with Merv. We've talked a lot about this body confidence between ourselves.
A lot.
But I'm sure a lot of the listeners would be wondering and finding out how they can speak to you more, because shoot with you. I'm sure a lot of the ladies that are listening are dying to experience the life-changing effect of your work. Yeah. So 2 things. So I'd say go over to You at Yours on Instagram. You can go and see all my work there. You can just see me hanging out. Like, I find that some people just have a sort of barrier to entry, if you like, because I'm a guy. So I feel like that's fair enough. I'm completely like okay with that narrative. I think there's a reason why that exists, you know, and I fully support it. So come and get to know me. Come and watch my stories. Come and message me in DMs, you know, whatever you need. If you want to be more direct, you can book a call in with me. My links are in my bio on Instagram, or just go to youatyours.com. And there's a whole website with a ton of information, blogs, experiences. You know, you can see my portfolio, you can see my artwork. It's go and explore. Like, I think there's a lot to be obtained from what I do. Yeah, and I highly recommend, ladies, gentlemen, because, you know, like I said, my partner, she went and did a shoot with Merv, and the way she came back was she was radiant, she was excited. Like, when the photos came, we looked through them. Well, she looked through them privately and then showed me. And it's seen a huge difference in how she feels about her body, how she moves through the bedroom and the home. So, like, you know, if you've got a sister or you've got a friend, you know, a good friend of yours, and you feel that it's something could be useful to them, like, you know, pick up the phone, give Merv a call. Thank you, man, for being here.
Thank you. Like, I feel like this is a privilege. You know, I remember, I was going to say this, I remember walking around Romania, listening to this podcast, not even knowing who you were or like this thing even existed, and then being on the plane coming home and sending you an email saying, I feel like I can relate to this space and everything you're talking about. Let me take you for a beer, you know. You know, and I just want to say thank you for what you're doing. Like, it's incredible what you're doing. So I feel privileged to even be here.
No, thank you, man. Thank you for the kind words. I remember the email. I remember replying and being like really excited to hear from someone that's listening. And it's beautiful. We've developed out of that email. We become friends. We hang out. So yeah, it's been beautiful having you, and so glad you're here. So listeners, there'll be another episode coming up soon. You know where to find Merv. The details will be in the show notes as well. And yeah, until next week, I'll speak to you later. Ciao, ciao.
Take care.